YouTube, we're out here at SRK Cycles bike shop. So we have our first time introduced with them. Sean's a great guy over here. We got the Harbor Davidson along with a Redbeards garage engine and a Predator motor. So I'm going to attempt to load this puppy up in my trailer there and get on the road. See if we can't make this puppy go fast. Sweet bike. All right, guys. We're gonna get her loaded and get back to work, and we'll see what it looks like. Peace. So, yeah, that's gonna definitely work. Just gotta weld it together. Alright, back over at the vise. I'm going to take this 3/4 inch, 3/16 keywayed axle, turn it into the jack shaft for the Harbor Davidson. So we got the engine all about mounted up in there. Try to catch up a little bit here, so we had to put a piece of angle and 2-inch square tubing. We took engine mount bolts and welded them in as studs. We came up here to the front bracket, which they kind of had something going on, and we added a piece of 1-inch square tubing, attached everything together there, added more studs, and it is just ever so slightly not exactly straight. I think just because I can see this little bit of a gap difference if you go down there. If you look at that one piece of channel right here, it's slightly closer there than here, so after looking at it closer, I think I'm off just a little bit, but it's not going to be enough to throw the chain or miss the line by too terribly much. So we got that in here. It's not going anywhere, and biggest thing that we noticed we did differently is we actually have the orientation of the motor in here correctly. So I'm not saying that they may or may not have known it, but when I viewed the previous video, their motor, they rotated the engine, which would not allow the dipper on the connecting rod to dip into the oil pan and throw oil back up in the system. So when you rotate that engine, this dipper is now, when it hits the bottom of the pan, it's actually up here. So it'll be hitting no oil. It'll be throwing the dipper up into the sky instead of into the oil, and that would have caused the no more start that Sean was having trouble accepting there. So we have at least the motor orientation right, so I don't think we're going to have an overheating problem, as what I presume they did. So now we're aligning this sprocket from the rear. They have a 65 tooth there, and I'm going to be putting this jack shaft in here like so, to then go from the torque converter setup, which was a whole nother ordeal to get that correct, because they sent us a 1-inch driver pulley down there, and that's a 5/8 shaft. This is a 3/4 inch ID, so we had to put a spacer in the system to accept the 1-inch driver. I have 7-inch pulleys, 6-inch pulleys, but their 8-inch pulley I believe is going to be best for this. So we did whatever we could belt wise and everything so we could adapt this shaft to accept their pulley. We have a number 41 chain, and the main reason for the jack shaft being installed is because we have to go from 41 to 50 chain, and that was the best, most cost effective, and I feel like the strongest solution we had possible. swinging back and forth just to keep it cool. But we're tacking her together. So that's the quality of the welds that I have produced over the years with my MIG. So yeah, these are for the jack shaft. I'm gonna go in here so we can get the jack shaft installed. We need a jack shaft to run inside this particular unit here, so we can adapt the chain from a 41 to a 50 tooth back there. So we got our level. We level the swing arm as far as making sure the bike was leveled when we started here, and then we made sure that our engine mount was level. Welded everything in place to get our engine secure. Now we have to get the jack shaft installed. So we got both of our towers right down here, getting welded together to hold our pillow block bearings and our jack shaft right here. So this will be in between the rear tire and the engine to transfer the power from 41 to 50. So yeah. So yep, it's not going anywhere. Alright, normally I'd say you should let that cool, but it is pretty thick metal, so yeah, pretty satisfied with all my welds. Done prettier, done worse, but they're definitely solid and not too shabby. So there we go. Voila! Look at that. They stand up. So yep, good to go. Let them suckers cool down, and then we will get ready to tack them in the back on the transmission, the old transmission X-brace or plate, whatever it mounted to, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, so we're gonna end this clip here and see what happens in the next one. Peace. Brake line is a little tight. Okay. Alright, so we put on the rainbow carb flat slide Keen clone from the Turbo Craftsman. We just got done tacking up our Harley Davidson exhaust. We got a Honda exhaust with the Predator 440cc header. So yeah, we're gonna tack it up, put it all together, and put our test run in. Peace. That was my tuning for the Turbo Craftsman.
Oh yeah.
What did it? Yeah, my neighbors are gonna love us. But let me just walk you through here real quick. So we have our 34mm PWK slide carb. I don't remember what it's jetted to. This was jetted for the turbocharged Craftsman, but I was in a bind. We stuck it on here and it works great. So we have our Moxie filter with our grade 8 coupler and our bung that was provided by Redbeards Garage. And then we have our channel. That's our 1/4-inch plate that I had cut out and welded in there, along with all the square tubing into our pillow block system on that side. And you can see our fuel filter. And then we have our throttle cable. We used the original system that Bikes and Beards put together. Then we added our part to it to allow that to run down into the carburetor like it's supposed to. All right, so now we're gonna take a walk over here to the other side of the bike and let you see what we did. So yeah, right now we're on like our 5th or 6th test run, and I am trying to get this chain and sprocket aligned because it seems like the gearing is good, but at this very moment the chain is popping off this back sprocket here. So take a little walk around here. So we now have our exhaust that we had custom fabbed into place, and we heat taped it, and then we also added our stock OEM Honda Rebel tip that we cut off my buddy's bike last week. We took the baffles out of that puppy and welded her clean, so it works out pretty well. Drone's making noise over there. We got our torque converter with our 7-inch driven pulley. An interesting thing about this was when we first started, this is on a 5/8 shaft, but this is a 3/4 inch driven, so we actually had to weld a sleeve adapter inside here to allow the driven pulley to be, well, driven. And then if we go in here, you can see our main number 50 sprocket, which is now an 18 tooth running back to our 65 tooth rear. And if you look closely in there, you can also see our number 40. I think you can see our number 40 chain running into our engine system there. So, yeah. That's the gist of our build.